do you want to...
There's a moment in Fight Club where Tyler Durden looks directly at you and says, "All the ways you wish you could be, that's me. I look like you want to look. I fuck like you want to fuck. I'm smart, capable, and most importantly, I'm free in all the ways that you are not." Technically he says it to Edward Norton, but he is speaking directly to you, the viewer. And here's the uncomfortable truth, and it's a huge part of you believes it. Tyler Durden has been living rent-free in the male imagination since 1999 when the film released. He's on gym motivational edits, he's quoted on Reddit threads about masculinity, he's the avatar for an entire generation of men who feel that they were sleepwalking through a life they never chose. And there's a reason for that. Tyler speaks to something very real, but is he actually somebody worth following? Is Tyler Durden a legitimate role model, or is he the most seductive wrong answer that cinema has ever produced? Today we're gonna find out, and I promise you that the answer is much more complicated than you think. For anyone who needs a refresher, or anyone who has somehow not seen Fight Club yet, in which case fix that immediately as we will have spoilers for Fight Club here, don't worry, I'll wait. No, go, pause it, go watch it, I'll wait. Great, now that you've seen it, first off, wasn't it amazing? And second of all, here's a recap of who Tyler is. Our unnamed narrator, played by Edward Norton, is a 30-something-year-old insomniac drifting through a hollow corporate life. He buys IKEA furniture to try and fill an emotional void. He attends support groups for diseases that he just so he doesn't have to feel something. He is, by his own admission, a copy of a copy of a copy. Then he meets Tyler Durden on a plane, played by Brad Pitt. He's wearing the iconic red leather jacket, he's a soap salesman, and everything changes. Tyler is everything that the narrator isn't. He's charismatic, he's decisive, and he is unbothered. He seems to have cracked the code on modern life by rejecting consumerism, embracing physical confrontation, building genuine brotherhood through shared suffering. He and the narrator start Fight Club, an underground bare-knuckle fighting ring that becomes a movement and then a cult and then something far darker. The twist, and stop watching now if you genuinely haven't seen it, is I'll give you 3, 2, 1. Okay, spoilers incoming. The twist is that Tyler isn't real. He's a dissociative alter ego, a projection of everything that the narrator wishes he could be, given form and voice by a fractured mind pushed past its breaking point. Tyler Durden isn't a man, he's a fantasy, a warning wearing the costume of a revolution. But let's be fair to him, because some of what he says he's not actually entirely wrong. So we'll begin looking at reasons why Tyler Durden is a good role model, as there is some good to him that is worth maybe not emulating, but at least considering in your own life. The first one is he rejects sleepwalking. Tyler's central diagnosis of modern life is genuinely quite sharp. He looks at men being numbed by comfort, defined by their possessions, too anxious to say what they actually want, and he calls it out directly. We're consumers, we are the byproduct of a lifestyle obsession. There's a real philosophical substance here. Thinkers from Thoreau to Frankl have made the same argument, that a life built around acquisition and approval is a life that is half-lived. Tyler just says it with more fire and a better jawline. His rejection of mindless consumption, of defining yourself by what you own, of outsourcing your identity to a brand or a job title, that's not crazy. That's actually quite big good wisdom. The delivery is just rather more aggressive. Reason number 2 is his physique is legitimate gym motivation. Let's be honest about this one, because the internet certainly has been. Brad Pitt's body in Fight Club is one of the most referenced physiques in gym culture for a reason. Lean, functional, defined without being bloated, he looks like someone built for movement and for confrontation rather than for a stage. It's not about size, instead with Tyler it's more about condition, and within the film that physicality is earned. Tyler isn't soft, he fights, he works, he embraces discomfort. He doesn't skip the hard thing because it hurts. There's a genuine argument that the discipline required to build and maintain that kind of body, the consistency, the willingness to push through resistance reflects values worth having. Using Tyler's physicality as motivation to get in the gym, to stop making excuses, to actually do the work, that part is fine. That part, taken in isolation, is genuinely useful. Thing number 3 is that he understands the value of hardship. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Tyler lives this before it became a gym poster cliche. Fight Club, the actual club itself is built on the premise that men need to experience difficulty, pain, and genuine stakes to feel alive, and there's legitimate psychology backing that up. Research into male well-being consistently shows that men thrive when they have challenge, purpose, and a sense of earned progress. Safe, frictionless lives tend to produce anxious, purposeless men. Tyler's instinct that men need to test themselves physically, mentally, in community with other men isn't wrong. It's the method he chooses to express that instinct where it goes from okay to genuinely very badly wrong, but the diagnosis is solid. Thing number 4 is he does build a genuine brotherhood. The most quietly powerful thing about Fight Club is that it gives lonely, disconnected men somewhere to belong. The basement, the rules, the shared experience of going through something difficult together, that sense of brotherhood, of being known by other men who've seen you at your worst and respect you, is something an entire generation of men is starving for. Tyler identifies that hunger and feeds it. The fact that he weaponizes it eventually doesn't erase the truth that he found it in the first place. And reason number 5 is that he demands authenticity. Tyler has zero patience for performance, for saying what you're supposed to say, feeling what you're supposed to feel, wanting what advertising tells you to want. He wants people to strip all of that away and find out what's actually underneath. That's a worthwhile question to ask. Who are you when you take away the job title, the car, the curated image you built of yourself? Most people never really ask this question of themselves. Tyler forces it, and for men who've been coasting on a persona rather than building a life through confrontation, however uncomfortable it may be, it can be the beginning of something real. However, there are several reasons why Tyler Durden is not a good role model, and there are quite a few of them actually, so let's get into it. The first one is that he's literally not real. We'll start with the most fundamental problem, and that is that Tyler Durden doesn't exist. He's a dissociative hallucination, a symptom of a man so psychologically fractured, so incapable of integrating his own suppressed desires, he had to invent an entirely separate personality to express them. The film doesn't portray Tyler as a hero, it presents him as what happens when somebody's mind breaks under the weight of everything that they've refused to feel. Modelling yourself on Tyler Durden is quite literally modelling yourself on a mental breakdown. He's not an aspirational figure who happens to be in a dark story. He is the darkness. He is the problem. Thing number 2 is his philosophy leads directly to terrorism. Project Mayhem, which is Tyler's endgame, is a domestic terrorism organisation. They blow up buildings, they destroy financial infrastructure, they erase individual identity in favour of mindless obedience to a cause. Tyler rails against consumerism and control, and then builds the most controlling, dehumanising organisation in the entire film. Members are referred to as space monkeys. They have no names. They follow orders without question. He replaces one form of sleepwalking with another, just with more explosions. Any philosophy that ends with blowing up the credit card companies isn't a philosophy. It's a very serious temper tantrum with very real casualties. Thing number 3 is a mistakes destruction for liberation. Tyler's core error, and perhaps the most seductive one, is that he conflates destroying things with building something better. He tears down, he burns, he dismantles, but there is nothing really on the other side. There's no vision, there's no plan, just wreckage and the feeling of wreckage which he mistakes for freedom. Real liberation, real masculinity, for that matter, requires you to build something, not just burn what exists. Arthur Morgan from Red Dead 2 built loyalty, Andy Dufresne built patience and a library. Tyler Durden just sort of built a crater. Thing number 4 is he's profoundly anti-human. Self-improvement is masturbation. Self-destruction, that's what we're after. There it is. The line that gets quoted approvingly by people who haven't really thought it through. Tyler doesn't really want you to get better. He wants you to come apart. He's explicitly anti-growth, anti-aspiration, and anti-future. For men who are genuinely trying to build something, whether it be a body, a career, a character, a life, Tyler Durden is working against you at this philosophical level. He is dressed nihilism in a leather jacket and called it enlightenment. Don't buy it. And then thing number 5 is that his emotional model is broken. Tyler processes nothing. He connects with nobody on a real level, not Marla, not the narrator, not the other space monkeys. He's incapable of genuine intimacy, genuine vulnerability and genuine care. He mistakes numbness for strength and domination for connection. Men who follow that template, who decide that needing nothing and feeling nothing is the goal, end up profoundly alone. Not in a dramatic, interesting way, in a quiet, grinding way. Tyler's emotional model doesn't produce freedom, it produces isolation dressed up in philosophy. So, is Tyler Durden a good role model? The simple answer is no. No, he's not. But here is what he is. Tyler Durden is possibly the most accurate portrait ever put on film of what happens when legitimate male pain, very real pain, the kind that comes from disconnection and purposelessness and a life that never asked anything of you, gets handed the wrong answer. The pain he speaks to is very real. The hunger for brotherhood, authenticity, physical challenge, meaning all of it is real. Tyler finds that hunger and validates it, and then he detonates it. The men who idolise Tyler Durden are wrong to feel what they feel. They're wrong about the solution, because the actual answer to a hollow life isn't destruction, it's construction. It's doing the hard, unglamorous work of building a self that can survive contact with reality. It's the gym, yes, but also discipline behind the gym. It's brotherhood, absolutely, but brotherhood built on genuine respect rather than shared rage. It's rejecting mindless consumerism, 100%, but replacing it with something constructive, not just with nothing. Tyler Durden is a mirror. He shows you the problem with uncomfortable clarity, but if you walk through that mirror to try and become him, you don't find freedom. You find the narrator, alone with a gun in his mouth, realizing that the thing he created is about to destroy everything around him. The first rule of actually building a good life, you don't follow Tyler Durden. You figure out what you actually want and you go and get it, which interestingly is what Tyler's message initially was. And there you have it, there is our role model review. So what do you think? Is Tyler worth following? Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know any other good male role models that you might want to look into. And we can try and build a community here. But that is all for now, so if you enjoyed this, make sure to give it a thumbs up, click subscribe if you're new around here. But that is all for now, so thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. Welcome to Olympus.